I spent 3 months trying to show a girl I genuinely liked her, apologized when I messed up, listened to her vent about everything, and tried to be respectful of her boundaries, but she ended things saying I faked everything and never liked her. We were only about 3 months in when everything started to feel confusing. At the beginning, things were incredible. We talked nonstop. It felt like one of those rare situations where you meet someone and the connection just clicks immediately. We had so much in common that it almost felt unreal. We shared similar goals, similar travel dreams, similar eating habits, even the same random cravings for food. Conversations flowed easily and naturally. I genuinely felt excited every day to talk to her. We texted constantly throughout the day. Sometimes it felt like there wasn't a moment where we weren't sharing something, memes, thoughts, plans, random observations about our day. She'd send me Instagram reels of travel destinations, restaurants, hobbies we both liked. We'd talk about where we'd go together someday, what we'd try, the kind of life we'd build. Sometimes she'd even make little comments about the future that felt surprisingly serious for how early things were. Stuff like, when we have kids, or joking about what kind of parents we'd be. It wasn't in a heavy or pressured way. It just felt playful and optimistic. I leaned into it too, because honestly it felt good imagining those things. For a while, everything seemed perfect. Then somewhere around the 2-month mark, things started to shift a little. Small things began to turn into bigger problems. Looking back, I know I made some mistakes. Nothing intentional, but still mistakes. One of the things she brought up was that I wasn't giving her enough compliments or reassurance. That honestly caught me off guard because in my mind I thought I was showing interest through how much we talked and how engaged I was with her. But I understand now that for some people, verbal affirmation matters a lot. There was one night where she went out somewhere, and when we finished talking I didn't say the classic, text me when you get home. It genuinely just slipped my mind. I'm kind of a goof sometimes and didn't think about it in that moment. Later she brought it up and was clearly upset about it. I apologized immediately. I didn't argue, didn't make excuses. I just told her I understood why that might have bothered her, and that I'd be more mindful of it. Another situation happened where I tried to be playful, and it came across completely wrong. I made a comment that in my mind was meant as light teasing, but she took it as me talking down to her. As soon as she told me that, I felt awful. I apologized again, and didn't try to defend myself. I told her that wasn't my intention at all, and that I could see how it might have sounded that way. After that, I stopped making jokes like that entirely because the last thing I wanted was to make her feel disrespected. Then there was the concert situation. She had tickets to a concert that she had planned before we started talking, so she went with friends. When she told me she was leaving, I told her to have fun and be safe. That seemed normal to me. But the next morning she sent me a message that completely threw me off. She said something along the lines of, "Strangers gave me compliments last night, and you couldn't. That tells me everything I need to know." I didn't even know how to respond to that at first. In my mind, nothing had happened that should have led to that conclusion. But that's when a new pattern started to appear in our conversations. She began saying things like, "You don't even want me," or "You don't even like me." At first I honestly thought she was joking or being sarcastic. The way she said it almost sounded playful, like teasing. But after hearing it multiple times, I realized she meant it. What made things even more confusing was that these comments would pop up randomly in between otherwise amazing conversations. We'd be having great discussions about our interests, laughing, planning trips we might take someday, sending each other food spots we wanted to try together, and then suddenly she'd say something like, "You don't even like me." It started happening often enough that I didn't know how to interpret it anymore. She also started accusing me of things that didn't match how I felt at all. She'd say that I was judging her or putting her down. Hearing that was honestly shocking because that was the opposite of how I was trying to treat her. I kept trying to reassure her, explain myself, apologize when I messed up, and adjust my behavior. Every time she pointed something out, I tried to take it seriously and improve. A couple weeks later, I was getting ready for a 2-week international trip I had planned for a while. Around the same time, Valentine's Day was coming up. Earlier that week, I asked her if she wanted to go out with me for Valentine's Day. In my mind, it felt like the obvious thing to do. We'd been talking for months, we were clearly into each other, and despite some bumps, I thought things were still moving forward. She turned me down. Her response caught me completely off guard. She said she had already made plans and then followed it with, "I didn't know we were like that. You don't even like me." That comment confused me more than anything. From my perspective, asking her out for Valentine's Day was a pretty clear sign that I liked her. But instead of taking it that way, it somehow became proof that I didn't. Despite that awkward moment, the rest of that week actually seemed pretty positive. She was putting a lot of effort into texting. Conversations felt normal again. We were sharing things, joking around, talking about travel and food like we always had. It felt like maybe we were getting back on track. That Friday, the night before Valentine's Day, I told her I wanted to see her before I left for my trip. Her response was another curveball. She said she didn't want to see me until after I got back. She said she was drained and that we needed to take a break for a bit. So I respected that. I figured maybe some space would actually help both of us reset. Then the next morning, Valentine's Day, I woke up to a message from her that said, "Happy Valentine's Day to you too." My stomach dropped when I saw it. In my mind, based on what she said the night before about wanting a break and not wanting to see me, I thought it would be better to give her space and not make the day awkward. Looking back now, I realize I probably should have just texted her Happy Valentine's Day anyway. But at the time, I genuinely thought I was respecting what she asked for. She was really upset. She told me, "You can't even do the bare minimum." We ended up arguing that day. It wasn't a huge blowout fight, but it was tense and frustrating. Eventually, we both agreed that my upcoming trip might actually be a good opportunity for us to take some space and reset things a little. Then the day I was leaving for my trip, something strange happened again. Out of nowhere, she started messaging me like everything was fine. She even started sending me pictures of things she wanted me to buy for her while I was overseas. Suddenly, the tone shifted back to playful and normal again. And just like that, our conversations went back to almost the way they were before. While I was on my trip, we actually talked almost every day in some form. The timing worked out perfectly because during the daytime where it was nighttime for her. So she'd usually message me while she was winding down for the evening, and it didn't really interfere with the things I was doing during the day. The conversations felt good again. Light, easy, familiar. When I finally got back home, we made plans to see each other. She came over to my place. I gave her the gifts I had picked up for her during my trip. We ordered some food and ended up sitting on the couch together. We cuddled for a while, which felt like a really good sign to me. I tried to kiss her a couple of times. She didn't pull away, but she didn't really respond either. It was strange. She kind of just let me kiss her lips without returning it. No effort, no leaning in, no emotion. At one point, she even rolled her eyes a little. It threw me off, but at the same time, the rest of the night still felt positive overall. The conversation was good. We were relaxed. It felt like maybe we were slowly finding our way back to the dynamic we had at the beginning. After that, our conversations continued to improve. We were back to talking about our days, random things, joking around. We even went back to talking about places we wanted to travel together and different foods we wanted to try. The next time we hung out, we went out to dinner together. After dinner, we stopped for frozen yogurt. She suggested we just eat it in my car instead of going somewhere else, so we sat there in the parking lot and talked. The vibe actually felt really good that night. We were laughing, chatting, and it felt comfortable again. I held her hand while we sat there, and at one point I had my hand resting on her thigh. She didn't pull away or seem uncomfortable. It felt natural. The only thing was that I kept yawning a little. My sleep schedule was still completely messed up from the jet lag after the trip. She actually laughed about it at the time. It didn't seem like a big deal in the moment. But the next day, somehow even that became a problem. She brought it up and used it as another reason to tell me that I don't even like her. Our next hangout ended up being the last time we saw each other in person. That day actually started out really well. We met up to work out together. We spent some time lifting and then did some walking for cardio afterward. It felt normal and relaxed, like we were just two people enjoying each other's company. There was no tension, no awkwardness, just conversation and moving around together. After the workout, we grabbed some food and headed back to my place. We put on a show, ate, and hung out for a while. Eventually, we ended up cuddling on the couch again. For a moment, it felt like things were finally settling into something comfortable between us. Then she shifted away a little and stretched her legs over my lap. Without really thinking about it, I started giving her a calf and foot massage. She knew I liked feet. We had joked about it before, and she seemed totally relaxed about it. The vibe felt good.
Calm. Easy.
Nothing weird or tense about it. After a while, she mentioned she needed to get to bed early, so when she was ready, I drove her back home. The only thing that caught me off guard was when we got there, and she didn't hug me goodbye. I leaned in slightly like I normally would, but she refused it. I didn't push the issue. I just said goodnight and headed home. The next day, our conversations over text were great again. Totally normal. We were talking about random stuff, joking around like usual. It felt like maybe we were moving forward again. Then the day after that, everything flipped. I was texting her to reconfirm our plans for Friday, just simple stuff like making sure we were still on for it, and she suddenly replied with something that honestly shocked me. I would rather be home alone laying in bed than with you. I stared at the message for a while trying to figure out if she was joking or being sarcastic. But she wasn't. Then she followed it up by saying that I didn't even like her, that I had been faking everything, that I was overcompensating. I genuinely didn't understand what she meant. Just a couple days earlier, we had worked out together, grabbed food, watched a show, cuddled, and I literally sat there giving her a massage while we talked. How was that supposed to be a sign that I didn't want her? One thing I wondered afterward was whether she expected me to be more aggressive or initiate more physically. That night I didn't try to kiss her and didn't attempt anything sexual either. I was trying to respect her pace because earlier she had seemed uncomfortable with me kissing her after my trip. Maybe she interpreted that restraint as lack of interest. I honestly don't know. Another thing that confused me was how she handled conversations. She vented to me constantly about her day. Almost every time we talked, she had something frustrating going on, coworkers that annoyed her, work situations, random things that stressed her out. But I never saw that as complaining or negativity. To me, it just felt like she trusted me enough to vent. When she told me about those things, I didn't try to fix them. I just listened. I figured sometimes people just want someone to hear them out instead of jumping straight into problem-solving mode. That's what partners do for each other, right? Then one day I opened up about something personal that had been on my mind. I told her about the trip I had taken with my mom and how it made me realize my mom is getting older. It made me think about how many more trips we might have together in the future and how I wanted to make more of an effort to spend time with her and be a better son while I still could. It wasn't meant to be heavy or depressing. It was just me sharing something real that had been on my mind. But when things finally ended between us, she threw that moment back at me. She said I was negative, that I was a complainer, that I had a woe is me attitude, and that I was a downer. That honestly left me speechless. I had listened to her vent about countless things without judging her once, but when I shared one emotional thought about my family, suddenly I was the negative one. Eventually the whole situation just collapsed. She told me to leave her alone, and that we were done. According to her, I was the monster in the story. I had faked everything. I never liked her. Hearing that was honestly surreal because from my perspective I had spent 3 months trying to show interest, apologize when I messed up, adjust my behavior, and make things work. There was even one smaller moment that stuck with me because of how strange the reaction was. One night she came over and we had agreed beforehand that I'd pick up dessert. I grabbed ice cream and cookies on the way over. It ended up costing around $25. While she was at my place, she decided to order 2 burgers through DoorDash for dinner, which came out to about $29. In my head, it felt pretty balanced. I got dessert, she got dinner. It all evens out eventually in relationships anyway. But the next day, she absolutely flipped out over text because I didn't offer to pay for the burgers. She made it sound like it was some kind of major disrespect. Moments like that left me constantly second-guessing myself. Looking back now, I can admit there are things I probably could have done better. I'm not always the most outgoing person. I could probably take more initiative sometimes, be more direct, lead conversations more, make moves more confidently. Maybe she interpreted my slower pace or my attempts to be respectful as lack of interest. But even knowing that, I still find myself replaying everything in my head over and over again. Different conversations, different hangouts, different moments where maybe I could have said something slightly different, asked a better follow-up question, initiated a kiss at a different time, made a clearer compliment, or done something else that would have changed the outcome. My brain keeps going back through every little detail, trying to figure out where exactly things went wrong. And the truth is, I still don't really know. I'm honestly confused and could really use some outside perspective. Did I actually mess this up by not being expressive enough or initiating more? Or was this situation impossible to navigate from the start? How do you show someone you like them when they constantly believe you don't no matter what you do? Is this a sign of deep insecurity on her side, or am I missing something obvious about my behavior? And how do I stop replaying every moment wondering what I should have done differently?